Good evening and salutations, my Days of Lives fans. So, let's start off with Rafe and Jada for a minute and her decision to not wanting to move in. Part of it bothered me, part of it irritated me, if I'm going to be honest, because she was citing reasons why she didn't want to move on, move in together from Eric and Stephanie. And I'm like, Stephanie is not exactly in a position to really be giving out. Her viewpoints are going to be very jaded because she's still reeling from her breakup. And Eric, okay, that was, it was bad, the relationship went sour. But there was other reasons for it. So I feel like using those two and Snitch talking about it was a bad omen was just kind of dumb, to be honest. And I wouldn't have blamed Rafe if he just wanted to move on. Just be like, you know what, listen, if this is not going to sit there moving away, you know, moving in a forward direction, then I need to sit there and find somebody else who will. I wouldn't blame him. That's all I'm gonna sit there and say. Especially when he was talking about, oh, we'll sit there and move at your timetable. It was like, I don't know about that. But I did like the fact that part of me did like the fact that he was understanding. He did sit there and say, he's been in a lot of relationships, and he felt like if he would have really got some time to sit there and got to know them before he rushed things, then it would have been so much heartache. The get to know you part is very tricky because a lot of people sit there and say, well, I don't really know about this. I don't know about this next day. I need more time to get to know you. But then it's just like, well, how much time do you need to sit there and get to know someone? You know, you could be with somebody for a lifetime and not know every single thing about them. You know, if your values are the same, or you know what I'm saying, you got the same values and stuff like that, same principles. You generally like this person's company, I feel like at that point you're moving in the right step. This whole getting to know you part is like, how much does this person you need to know? As long as you know this person is not going to be a serial killer, I think you're on the right track. So I don't know. I'm kind of halvesies on it. Well, let's move on. Alex. As much as I like Alex, Alex has been pissing me off, specifically in this episode. He runs into Xander, and they get into it for a little bit. You know, Xander talks about how Teresa was not a good hire, and Bella Magazine isn't really doing well. They go back and forth for a little bit, and Xander's like, "Listen, tomorrow's gonna be Christmas. How about for the sake of Maggie? How about we just try to coexist just for that one day, just for Maggie's sake?" And of course, Alex made a little threat, and I'm like, was that really necessary? Then Alex runs into Maggie, and Maggie expresses her concerns about Titan, about the performance of Titan, specifically with the magazine not really doing so well, and hiring Teresa, which she's not qualified to, she's not qualified for the job, and saying that, you know, business moves should never really be dictated by emotions. She felt that he wants to sit there and revive Bella Magazine after she said it was a bad idea if she worked there, just to spite it to her, just be like, oh well, I'm gonna sit there and run, it's gonna do well, and he gets offended by that. He tells her, oh well, you don't work there anymore. So even when she starts to bring that stuff up, he's like, well, you don't work there anymore, so it's not really your business. I'm like, okay, yeah, but that's her husband's legacy, and she still does care about the business, if nothing else, but for Victor's sake. And he gets so butthurt by it that he decides to cancel going to Christmas with her. And I'm like, dude, she was just legit talking shop with you, you know? Like that should not really have anything to do with spending time with her on Christmas, Oh, well, I just, I don't want to go a place that me and Teresa isn't welcome. I'm like, what are you talking about? It wasn't even an argument. It was literally an observation. I'm like, I can't believe he was so caught up in his feelings that he decided he wanted to sit there and spend time with his family because she said something he didn't like. Uh, and of course, Constantine, the snake that he is, was watching Maggie um, the entire time throughout the argument, the entire time with Sarah when she was talking about how she missed Victor, and she's kind of upset, and they were talking about Constantine, just to sit there and find a moment when she was vulnerable to come out there and be like, "Oh, it's Constantine." He starts doing this whole little, "Oh, I don't really know too much American custom" sort of thing, and he weaves his way into um, spending Christmas with her. I'm like, wow. And I think that if she didn't have the argument with Alex, that she'd probably just be like, all right, well, I know what you're gonna do for Christmas, but good luck. Because she did sit there and say, hey, listen, I did right by Victor by paying off his debts and giving him a place to stay for a little bit. So like I did my part. And Sarah was like, don't you miss him? She was very resolved. She was very strong in her convictions into her fight with Alex because, Alex got to be butthurt about things. Now, Teresa does run into Andrew, and like I said in my review, that Andrew was in my last review, Andrew was going to sit there. Sorry, Andrew was going to sit there and cover for her. She did. Meaning he did. And of course, he wanted to know the reason why, she was sitting there going out there stealing babies, and Teresa gives him some sort of BS reason, talking about, oh, I want to sit there and do it for Constantine to make him a hero in Maggie's eyes. And part of me is like, I can't believe you actually bought that. Aren't you supposed to be like you know, I don't know if the ISA is actually a real, I don't think ISA is actually a real thing, but I'm like, aren't you supposed to be like this top notch FBI agent? Aren't you trained to sit there and really kind of detect when somebody, don't you have a BS meter or anything like that? You really sat there. When has Teresa ever been that nice? That nice. I mean, I don't really know much about her, but I know that she's a schemer. And to sit there and say, "Oh, I met this charming old guy, and I really want to do him a solid." And like, is that something that you really feel like Teresa would do? Really? But he pretty much just like, "Yo, listen, just stay away from the dude. Don't get any more trouble. Don't make me risk my job for you to sit there and really do something stupid." Now, Constantine has been simply trying to call Teresa practically all day. And when he does get a hold of her, he pretty much says that he needs help from Maggie and that she doesn't have a choice. And, I don't know if I said this or not, but when the truth comes out and Alex finds out that he is not Victor's son, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy because the way he's been treating Maggie has just been straight up wrong, disrespectful. And I don't think he's going to be so arrogant to Xander when he finds out that Xander's, because he did sit there and say, he's like, oh, well, why would I sit there and trust you with anything when you were just my dad's gardener? When the truth comes out, well, it's going to be very interesting. And finally, in the beginning with Sarah and Xander, they seemed like they was having an issue. Seemed like it wasn't a full blown argument, but they were trying to decide on who Victoria's going to be spending Christmas, and who Victoria's going to be spending Christmas with. And Sarah's like, at first I thought it was going to be turned into a full blown argument, but then Sarah's like, why don't you sit there and come with me to Julie's place to celebrate over there? He's like, are you sure about that? But she's like, hey, let's just do it. I thought it was gonna be a huge, an actual argument for a hot minute. It was like, well, that romance didn't really last that long. I don't know. I still look at those two and I'm just like, it's a huge mistake. It's a giant train wreck, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it because it's that's not gonna last. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. I can't really think of anything else that wound up happening. And with that being said, I'm gonna go. If you miss anything, you know what to do. Come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows. General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Born the Beautiful, and Young and the Restless. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video.